Okay, so this is just a quick little guide for the Origin fight in the new game, Any Recent Route for Extermination. It's not too difficult. It's one of the things in the game that does have a bit of strategy involved. It's also not too optimized, but this is what we have at the moment. So the first thing to go over is the ammo bug. If you look on the left side, you'll see a little spreadsheet. So the values on the left side in the A column are the initial value that you'll reload at. You can manually reload by pressing L3. So you'll manually reload at a value in the A column, generally 58. And then the B column is a range of values that you'll manually reload at a second time. And when you reload at both of these values, that'll let you continue shooting from -1 to -256. So doing this saves us some time in the run because we pick up fewer magazines. And we'll use this during phase 1 of the fight. Another thing is, going into this fight, you want to make sure you have the interceptor. You pick this up in the level 2 lab access way. It's in the room right before you go into the vent. If you look at a speedrun, you'll see people go down and pick that up. It's pretty easy to miss, but once you know it's there, you can pick it up. So going into the fight, after you leave that room, you want to grab nades here. You'll go into the menu right here and do a couple of things. The first thing is, you'll go into the components and you'll equip the interceptor. Another thing that I want to point out here is we have 4 magazines. That's not the minimum number that you could have, but it's what we have in the current route. You'll notice he has 103 bullets. That's pretty standard. If you have fewer than that, this exact setup won't work. You can work with it, but you'll just kind of need to keep that in mind. You'll also notice 12 nades. That's more than enough. So you'll see here in the menu, equips the interceptor. Go into this room, he'll leave, and then phase 1 starts. So we have our interceptor equipped. We'll go up to the top, and we have this sort of setup to basically get the ammo bug working. So you saw he had 100 bullets. He's going to shoot until it auto reloads. It'll auto reload at 90. Then he'll shoot until it auto reloads again at 60. Then at that point he'll shoot a nade and shoot a few bullets. So as you'll see, he just auto reloaded again, and then he shoots the nade. So just to go over that one more time, he had 103 bullets. He shot until he auto reloaded, so he was at 90. So that was basically the first jump. Then he shot until he auto reloaded again, and he was at 60, which was the second jump. Then on this third jump, he shoots a nade. The reason we do that is you shoot the nade while Origin's going back in the water. We shoot a couple bullets so that we go from 60 to some value in the A column. And then at that point, we manually reload. And then we can continue using the SPR4 until we're at a value in the B column, and we'll reload again. And you'll notice that he'll be checking the menu to see if he's at that value in the B column. I believe Retroid typically does exactly 58 and exactly 29. So there's his 2 bullets. He reloaded. He's at 58 now. He used a lot of bullets there. He's at 33. He's at 29. He reloads. He got the bug. So now at this point, you go through the rest of phase 1 just using the SPR4, hitting him as much as you can, and you'll generally have some bullets left over if you need them. So at this point, it's pretty simple. A couple things to note. Right after this, you want to make sure you unequip the interceptor. The interceptor auto-aims, which is useful here, but it's not going to be useful in phase 2. We want to try and get core hits. So I'm not sure what Retroid does here. Generally, as soon as I see that Origin has died, I'll menu, take off the interceptor, and then continue. So Origin will die right here. You see he took off the interceptor, and he actually took it off by equipping the dog tag unit, which gets rid of the interceptor. So now going into phase 2, we actually have a core hit sort of setup that Retroid discovered very recently. How it works is phase 2 has 4 different starting positions, He has 4 different starting positions that he'll go to. Retroid has clips of these different positions. We just have this video right now to go through it. There's not like a super exact setup on like what exactly to do for each one. Like I'm not sure if Retroid has like lineups for these or not. But it's very consistent. So probably if you just try this on your own, mess with it a bit, you can, find your own sort of setup. You'll see right there, Origin moves a bit, he stops, and then Retroid's going to kind of, find his lineup for the core hit. At this point, it's possible to continue getting core hits on Origin, depending on what he does. The one attack that you're not probably going to get a core hit on is when he leans forward and spews out all of the Hydras. At that point, you just want to leave, go up the ladder, and go to the turret. But in this video, after the core hit, he goes for his pod missile attack. So Retroid gets another core hit. He stays here to see if he can get another. He goes to spit the Hydras, so Retroid makes his way to the turret. At this point, your goal is basically use the turret as much as possible. The turret is, outside of core hits with nades, the turret is pretty much the best DPS for Origin. So, also, just want to point this out real quick. You'll see Retroid swung to the right to try and hit the wooden box. It's not a big deal if you don't hit it, but it's a bit of a time save, potentially. He didn't hit it. Anyway, so you want to use the turret as much as possible. It's best DPS. It's also good to maybe try and get more core hits. Maybe not. But what he will do is when the turret starts to fill up, he'll switch back to using nades. So he'll shoot some nades here, and then he'll make his way back to the turret. And that's pretty much phase 2. See, he shot like 2 or 3 nades there. He's back on the turret. He managed to get 2 core hits at the start. So that's 800 damage. That's a lot. So he didn't need to, waste time with the nades. He just did a few to get the turret to go down and then went back to it. So now at this point, it goes on to phase 3. Phase 3 is fairly simple. It's probably the most optimized phase. Climb up the box here to the right. Get up on top here, and you'll see right here he sort of lines up with the wooden box. This goes back to why you want to try and shoot the box with the turret. You use the box as a sort of lineup. You actually want to stand inside of where the box was. So you'll notice right here he sort of stopped right at the edge of the box. That's sort of where you want to be. If you have to spend time breaking it, you're wasting time. The reason that matters, the reason you want to save that time in phase 3 by losing it in phase 2 is because pods are going to shoot up here. The pods will hit you, the pods will make you move, they'll screw up with your lineup on Origin. So it can potentially be a big time loss to get hit by the pods. They also deal damage, right? That sort of thing. So hitting the box phase 2 is nice, not a big deal. So he stands here inside the box. He aims at Origin, gets it right on his chest, sort of to the right from our point of view on his chest. And he's just going to shoot at him with his nade every time the gun is making its way back up. When the gun's like just about to aim at us. Doing this, you should get consistent core hits. It'll take 5 core hits, so make sure you have 5 nades for phase 3. And after the 5th nade hit, it'll be over. You'll, stop your timer, and the game will be over. So I think that was 4 right there. You just heard the pods launch, actually. So it's pretty close timing on whether or not the pods hit you. But at that point, beating Origin, it's the end of the run. GG.